Hello and welcome to creating maps for Daikatana with Daikatana. So this is the basic editor we have here. We have already done the settings, so we are not going to touch them, but what should I start from? Probably from moving. So right mouse button moves the views like this. So you can use right mouse button to move the views. This is the basic way to move in this map, in these maps, and I'm not gonna touch the 3D window here yet because it's going to add some keys, but let's stick to the 2D view so far. And by the way, the window areas here are this is, you have the height meter, and it shows how tall something is, and you can use it to edit objects and so on when you are not in some edit in the tall mode or so on. And then we have here the 3D view, and this bottom window here is going to be textures. And you probably cannot see it, but I have here an XZ top view enabled, and when I press tab later or tab key, it changes to XZ front view, and if I press it again, it becomes YZ side window, and then we have XY top again. And you start making maps by just building up drawing blocks. So left mouse button, you drag it and keep it dragged here, and you can draw a square cube like that. We can move it around from the top view if you want, like up down, like I just explained. And then we can also move it some of the sideways like this, as long as it's selected. And like that. And you deselect objects by pressing ESC, and then you can select objects by pressing Shift and clicking the object itself like that. And let's make some sense about the utility bars here. So for example, if we make an object like that, we can, let's make it something that's easier to understand. So that doesn't do anything, because also doesn't do anything. You don't have to care about this yet, but if we have something like this, we can just swap it around with that button. Then we can change the alignment like that. You can see it changes in the 3D view, and we can flip the objects as well if we want, like this. Except that this is like the same thing in the y-axis. And what else? We have the z-axis as well, but you know, same thing as before with this thing. Well, yeah. Anyway, it works like that. And let's make some selections first. So these buttons are used to select objects and stuff. So for example, if we have like just a plate. By the way, I will explain some of these keys. So for example, if we select one object and we press spacebar, we can clone that object. So we can make one object and then clone it like that. Do stuff like this. But what I wanted to show you was you can also select objects from the 3D view if you want. Just press the Shift. So if you want to select different objects, you can just paint over them and click here, and it will select everything that's in the area, except that it goes to tall all the way to the infinity and all the way down to the infinity to the bottom. So everything in that radius will be selected. However, if we want just select something that's touching these objects like this, we can also click this, and it will select these two objects which are touching each other. So we don't need to touch it. And then we have the partial tall. So for example, if we do this, well, it selects all of those things. Let's go down. Like this, it only selects these two. And next is probably the easiest way. So if we have a square cube, so everything inside this cube will be selected, which means these two objects. But nothing is. Then we can raise the object count like 1, so it's selected like this. And you delete objects by pressing backspace. I should probably have explained that first, but yeah, sure. Okay. And what else? So if we have a, let's say, so by the way, you can see here the G8, it means the grid size has been set to 8. So one of these blocks here is 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have now 3 of them, so we know that there's like 24 of these things. And yeah, 16. Yeah. And now if we do, let's say, let's say we have like, I'm trying to explain to you what GC subtract is, even though you won't be needing it. But anyway, let's do, if we want to make some nice little thing for ourselves, we can just click here, and now everything inside this room has been subtracted. So it's not just a block anymore, it's actually a room of stuff like this. But this is not the way to build maps. You don't want to do this. you totally don't want to do this. It's just, for example, creating interesting shapes and stuff usually, or creating doorways. Like if we have this, we can create a doorway like that. Now we have doorway. This is what I will use CCG subtract. And then if you're a lazy person, then you can also press hollow, so it will automatically hollow objects and make basic rooms like this. And just then we have the change view button here as well, same as tabulator. And if we do, let's see, well, this changes the texture view from flat shades and stuff. If we had something like this, inner is going to be good enough. And we basically don't need to care about these yet. So we could show the sound radios. Yeah, we will be going there sooner or later. But let's create a really basic room for ourselves. Like in Quake Editor, everything is kind of synced underwater, and if you have light bulbs in those things, the light will leak out if the maps aren't strictly compressed. So that means, for example, this is not going to be a playable area. So if we do this, there won't be any, we cannot play it, we cannot do it anything here. We need to make a room where the player box is started on, and that's going to be treated as a playable area. So for example, let's do a room. So now we have grid of 8, that's pretty small size. So let's, first of all, you can zoom in and zoom out by using insert and delete buttons in keyboard, like this. And let's go away, like 512, that's pretty good. Okay, so and then you have numeric keys on your keyboard, so you can press 6 to select 32, or 7 to have 64, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, and so on. And try to stick around 8, 16, 64 area when making maps, because otherwise things might get pretty weird, but it's important to change these when it's necessary. And let's create a playable area like something that can be actually used in somewhere. That sounds about right. Let's make it smaller. Like this, yeah. I think this looks pretty good. Okay, and then press ESC and drag here. Like this. And now in the 3D view, if you press and hold right mouse button, you can move around like this. Let's face. You can see here in the 2D view that the player camera moves also as well. So we have this block here. Let's make it taller, like 500 and something tall. That's pretty okay, I think. Then press spacebar once. You can see we cloned this object. Now we can flip around, see it's in place like this. Yes. And then we can just ESC and drag new wall here, like this. It should be automatically going to the right size. And then press space when it's selected and drag and drop it here, like this. Okay, now we have some playable area, except that we don't have a roof. So how do we create a roof? We could just select, the bottom floor, press tab, and align it, and then move it up like this. That's about the right size. And we can press tab to actually see the correct position for it. Like this. Let's make it slightly bigger like that. But the important thing is that it's completely proofed. It's going slightly down like this. Interesting. Yeah, this was I should have decided how to make this. So technically you can build it like this if you want, but that's not the only way to do it. For example, I have friends who do, let's see, I have some friends that do maps like this, so they take the outer walls like that and they build it like this. There are some some good things about way to do it like this and some bad. Especially it's like that. Well, we don't need to do that. Right, let's not right now. It's enough that we have like something here, but it looks like shit. Lol. I'm gonna do this just to ensure that everything is just fine, and it's also good practice for you to just go on through and get this stuff done like this. By the way, if you go over the blocks, so let's see if we do like, if you do something like this and then go through like this. Once the map gets compiled, it usually subtracts automatically these portions. However, it might leave some texturing errors along the way, so it's not probably a good idea to do it. So try to stick to the plan and do it like, I don't know. So it's that. By the way, in the 3D view, once you're moving here or anything like that, you can press A and Z buttons on keyboard to look up and down, and you can use D and C keys to move up and around like this. So basically it becomes like this. And in newer Radiant editors you actually have mouse look, but in here you don't have mouse look in IonRadiant for some reason. That's one of the ways this is pretty archaic editor. Like in Unreal Editor, I think they still don't have the first person move view, but it's okay. They have far better, simpler system with using 2 mouse buttons to do the same thing. So, and if you've used some editor like Trench Broom or something like that for Quake, it's also pretty much easier than to do this. Anyway, let's add some textures here. And if you have unpacked the textures correctly, so go to the textures and load from the list, and then you have here like all the maps and stuff. So I have some extras and shit. So let's do basic E1M1 load. Now you can see textures here. You can also use the right mouse button to browse this stuff. So how do we texture map? So we select a block like this, and then we click something. That's basically how you texture. I just got a great idea. Let's do it like this. Select everything. And then we go and do click like that. Okay. Nice. Actually, no, this looks like shit. Oh, so much better. Or we could do a jungle. I don't know. Let's just use the rock texture. It's like it's pretty basic, but we can use different kinds of rock textures. I mean, yeah, nice. Anyway, here's the thing. Now we probably should add light here. So you add light props by creating a new object like this, and then right mouse button in the 2D area and select light and light like this. Now we have a light object over there. Let's move it to the middle of this map like this. And this might be a good idea to teach you about the entity editor. So each map in Daikatana requires certain parameters to be set up before it can be loaded. And probably the, well, let's see. Let's click any part and press N key, entity, N for entity. And we can see here, then we have world spa view here over. So what we need to do is we need to add palette. And let's do E1M1 because we are making E1M1 map. Okay, it's added over there. Then we are going to need, what was it called? I will cheat. Just a little bit. It's not right. Yeah, here we go. So these are the entity flags, some of which we probably want to have in our map. Oops. And what we are interested here is the episode, palette, and probably sky. So these three at least. And we do want to have, you know, ambient light as well. And I think that's about it. So we have palette, episode 1. For this selects which weapons you want to have from which episode. You cannot use, you know, episode 2 weapons and episode 1 weapons in the same map. That's not going to be possible, unfortunately. But it will be fun as fuck. So, and next thing we have the episode and palette, and let's do the sky. Ambient, let's say 10. Ten is probably too much. I don't know. 7. So this sets an ambient light for the map, so we don't have to, you know, have a million light spots or something like that. We can just light the whole map with the level 7 or something. Of course, if you wanna make dark maps, that's going to be pretty bad for you, but anyway, it's okay. You don't want to go over through this, but if you want really black and dark maps, then don't set it at all. It's completely black. And then we have episode 1 weapons. We have episode 1 texture palette from the first map. So each map in Daikatana has its own unique texture palette, and we have to explain to Daikatana that if we use textures from E1M1, we want to give the Daikatana the E1M1 palette. So otherwise you will see just corrupted textures and such things, and everything is going to be bad and shit and so on. Don't do it. So then sky E1M1 selects the sky for us, which sky texture we want to use. And if you want, we could, you know, add also the cloud there. Like this. And if you want to have a very special sun object shining light through the map, you could use these things, but we are not going to type it here right now. You can play and test them with around yourself if you want. And if you want to have a fog in your map, then actually we could add that thing here as well. Fog value. So let's enable fog. Fog start 300. 300 sounds alright for this small map of ours. Then end. So yeah. And that's about it for the basics of Entity Editor. Except that you press N again. Press S to deselect the stuff. And we could save the map now. Let's give it a name. I'm gonna call this box. Now we have a map called box. And here you can see the oops errors and shit. Yeah. Anyway. I don't actually like that. I don't I should see it, but and now we have lights and we have textures and we have some other stuff. So we could also add the player start here, otherwise we cannot play this map. Like, it doesn't matter what size it is. Take again, draw an object, right click and go to the info. Info player start, like this. And we could also set the direction the player starts by pressing N. So now it selects entity editors information for the info player start. And here you can see the turn-in points and just click, for example, 270. And then the entity changes, the focus of window changes from entity editor to back to the Ion editor window, and you can see. And if we zoom, we can see here the small arrow appears at which direction the player will be facing. So let's throw it over there and like this. And then we want to have the sky here, so we select this topmost box and you press S key like this. It opens the surface editor for you, and click the sky and press apply. We probably want to have, actually I think it's not needed, but I've been adding it like this constantly for everything. Sky. Yes. Press OK and press like that and then save. And we could also, add water here. Water is just that you select. No, well, it's not that easily. In original Quake, you could just select a water texture and that would add water into the thing. But we want to have the water texture here, and then we want to have the water properties. So Surface Inspector, open it again by pressing S key, and then we want to select here from the surface flags. Let's click. First of all, let's click Transparent 33. And from the content flags, click water and press apply like this. And yeah. Actually, we could also toggle the warp. I think this is okay. Then press S to deselect the thing. Let's make one mist small. So select the bottom like this and press S. Oops. That's interesting. Oh yeah, I just remembered. So you have to press Control Shift, like Control and Shift together, and then select the object. So now it selects just the surface, like the face portion of the thing. It's like if we have like this, let's make a small cube here, just to demonstrate something. Like, now we can see three sides of it. So if we select, we can select the one face by pressing Shift and Control together, and then we can apply different faces to a same block like this. But it also selects the properties of that side. So for example, if we have the surface editor and we click here, it's just going to open the previous surfaces which we selected. So let's take this, and now we don't have anything added here because we are selecting the objects like this. And then we add, you know, bottle here for the surface flex, just for the kickles. And we can select the water portion here and lower the water down here like this. Okay, so what we have here is that we have now, when the player moves around in the map, instead of hearing the very tough rock sounds coming from your foot, it's going to be like splash, 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 because you're walking inside water. Otherwise it would be slightly weird to hear those sounds while you're walking inside the water or something, yeah. But yeah, what else we might want to have here? So if we add water, for example, the rain here, let's add rain here because it's going to be awesome. So you can see here we have the water block here and we have the floor here, and this is the upcoming rain block. So you take this and the whole room like this, and then fill it up all the way up like this. And now that we are here, we right click and we take effect and rain like this, and it automatically creates a rain block for us. So we don't have to do anything else. That's it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we probably want to have some kind of small fog area. I don't know. Right mouse click on to move on via. Let's go all the way down, like here. And then we do surface. Like this. Okay. Effect fog, like that. Just look this. Save. And let's also add sound effects here. So you cannot properly see it, but you know, if we do this, we have here the sound ambient selected. Somewhere around the middle of the room, I don't really care. And open up the entity editor, and then we can type here sound, and if you unpacked the sound files from the pack 1 of Daikatana files, we can now type ambient and slash dash I don't know, let's cheat and take a look at what I've done in preparation for this tutorial video. So we can go over here and have sound global. E underscores country night a.vav. Press enter, so on. Now we have sound ambient global e country night a here. Press N to close the entity window. And let's see. Here we can see now the sound radiuses. Actually, this is pretty good. I'm probably thinking that we might want to have more light style here, like something. I don't know. Let's not do anything. I think it's like 200 or something by default, but I really can't remember right now. But we probably want to give a color for it, so select the light and press K key. Now then select, I don't know, yellow, for example, and press OK. And now we have yellow light over there. And now if you go to the entity view by pressing N, you can see that there's underscore color option here. And what else? We might want to add some weapons here, so let's make a table. That's about good. Let's make legs for it. Yeah. Now we have a small table over here. Let's make it metal. Rock hard. Rust. Sounds good. Actually, this might be a perfect chance to also explain about some of the basics of texturing. So we can select the object here, and let's say choose the gradient here like this. And now we open the surface property editor by pressing S, and you can see the horizontal sketch, stretch and vertical stretch. Just do 0.5 and 0.5 and press apply. Like now you can see that texture is like slightly better aligned here. And if you want to choose, we can actually change its direction with using horizontal shift and vertical shift, and then we could also rotate it like this and do other interesting stuff with it if you wanted to. That's okay, just press on and press S and deselect it and then save the game, the map. And now you can see that we are in the grid size for, what the fuck is wrong with my mouse? Anyway, let's return to 8 and do this. And now let's go over here and add a weapon here, like let's see, it's A1 weapon, ion blaster. Fuck, I cannot see the mouse cursor anymore. What is going on here? Let's save. Okay, I think we have our map here. Kick. What the next thing we can do is, and want to do, is probably start, you know, the CMD. No. Yeah. And then we type full box, and it compiles the map. Hopefully it succeeds for you. If it doesn't, it has leaked or done some other bullshit. Don't worry, it can be fixed. But we have here like ReadySD and everything manpile are compiled. Next we can open up Daikatana. from the dev directory, of course. And then we can type map box. And it should load. And this is what we're going to see. There's one more thing. I have no fucking idea how to add music into these maps. I just don't. Apparently Daikatana has some kind of mechanism for it, but who knows how it works. I have no fucking idea. but that's the tutorial for today. I hope you learned something. And let me see what kind of interesting stuff you come up with. I will be at the forums and stuff, and if you want, you can just package up the box.psp file, as long as you use the regular textures and regular sound files and such things. It should work all right. Yeah. This has been basic Daikatana IonRadiant editor tutorial. Have a nice day.